A jeweler recently posted these photos of a ring that came back to their shop just 48 hours after it was delivered to the customer. We see this kind of thing all the time, so I wanted to take a minute to explain what's going on here and, more importantly, how you can avoid it happening to you. I pulled this image into our CAD software to estimate the measurements. Assuming that it's roughly a stock finger size, this ring appears to be about 1.25 millimeters thick. Now, that's already 70% below our bare minimum thickness when we are building a ring for daily wear. But the thickness is only part of the problem. You'll notice the cutouts beneath the diamonds. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a castle style setting like this when it's executed properly. The issue is that they started with a ring that was already dangerously thin and then removed a huge portion of the metal. Now, I'm estimating a little bit on the diamond sizes, but by my best guess, there's only about 0.2 millimeters of metal left beneath each stone. To put that into perspective, that's less than half the thickness of one of our business cards. You don't have to be a structural engineer to see the problem here. A strip of metal barely thicker than a human hair just isn't enough for the daily stress that a ring goes through. It's going to bend, it's going to crack, and eventually it's going to do exactly what happened here. So I recreated this band in CAD using the dimensions that we're seeing in the photo, and I compared it to how we would normally build this same piece. Now, I want you to notice something important. The diamonds look just as beautiful in both versions. You're not sacrificing sparkle by building the ring stronger. And when it comes to comfort, thicker is actually better, not worse. A slightly wider band gives us more room to create a smooth, beveled comfort fit. Now, here's where the math gets actually kind of interesting. Our version is 18% wider and 60% thicker. But because jewelry is a three-dimensional object, strength increases dramatically with the thickness. When you run the numbers, the stronger version of this ring is actually 5 times more resistant to bending. The damage you're seeing here happened after just 48 hours, but even being generous, we'd expect a ring built like this to have a high risk of failure within the first 5 to 10 years of daily wear. The version that we build, well, that's the kind of ring that you can realistically expect to last 50 years or more without major repairs. Now, yes, more gold does mean more cost. Depending on the exact weights, building the ring properly might add $500 to $700 to the retail price. So, yeah, doing it the right way costs more. But 48 hours of enjoyment versus 50 years, that's a pretty easy calculation. And there's actually something that most people don't realize. Those numbers are assuming our pricing for both rings. In many cases, the thin rings we see aren't made lightweight to save you money. They're made lightweight so that the manufacturer can increase their margins. Now, you might pay the same price, or even more, for a ring that's dramatically weaker. And that is still before you factor in the cost and frustration of years of repairs. This is one of the reasons that we're so committed to building jewelry the way that it should be made. Having your brand new ring fail just days after you receive it is heartbreaking. And to be fair, I don't believe every jeweler selling rings like this is intentionally cutting corners. There are bad actors in every industry, but more often the problem is simply a lack of technical knowledge. A store buys from a well-known brand or an overseas factory, and they assume that the engineering and the quality control have already been handled. We hear this kind of defense all the time. But it's a well-known brand. We've sold lots of their pieces. Okay, but that probably doesn't make this customer feel any better about their broken ring. When you walk into our studio, you sit down one-on-one with an experienced designer, someone with decades of experience building jewelry that's meant to last. You're not choosing from a factory catalog. Every piece that we create is designed for the person who will wear it. We don't believe in cutting corners, and we definitely don't believe in building jewelry to be disposable.